Don't let this rattle you. You trust God, don't you? Trust me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Believe me. I am in my Father, and my Father is in me. If you can't believe that, believe what you see. These works. Whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing. They will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. I will do whatever you ask in my name. You can count on it.
Ang buhay ay parehong mahirap at masaya.
Pero mas kinakaya pag may kasama. Kaya it's always better together.
Kapag alam mo kung nasan ka ngayon, and then you can do something about it. You can improve it. You can make it better. No? At of course, you're not alone because the people around you as well are going through this different mysteries as well. Pagpahalagahan mo ang sarili mo, pagpahalagahan mo ang inner peace mo, pagpahalagahan mo ang brain mo, ang mind mo, because the people around you as well are going through challenging times or tough times. May kanya-kanya rin silang mga iniisip. Kaya dapat you first take care of yourself, and when you take care of yourself, then you can take care of others. So hindi pa pwedeng puro emosyon lang. Kailangan balansin natin with logic, with that rational, diba? Reasoning natin. And when we're able to strike that balance, then we'll be able to make the right decisions in our lives. No? Huwag kang maging kontrabida ng buhay mo. Hindi mo kailangan yan at hindi makakabuti sa iyan. As long as we're doing the right thing, and we know that we have God, no? At dapat siya ang dapat na ma-please sa ginagawa natin. In thoughts, in words, in the actions that we do. The mere fact that you are able to carry on, sa kabila ng challenges mo, move forward, take steps, meaning to say, friend, you are an inspiration. Whatever that is working, ituloy mo lang. Whatever that people are doing, and it's also good, you can actually learn from them. So again, you gotta nourish to flourish.
You cannot do anything about something that hasn't happened yet. Worse, the more you focus on it, the more you are feeding the possibility of it coming true. The biggest amount of control that we have is towards ourselves, inside ourselves. We can control our decisions. We can control our choices. We can control how we can react to situations, to certain individuals, to certain challenges in our lives. There are many things that we can control to give ourselves more peace of mind, because sarili nating katawan yan, sarili nating buhay yan, sarili nating pag-iisip at pagdarama ang hinahawakan natin. Once we present it to Him, we let go of them and surrender them to Him. Basta pag pininesent mo na kay Lord, ibigay mo na sa Kanya, and when you give it to Him, you give with a grateful heart. You're not letting worry and anxiety stay in your heart, because you have chosen to give it and surrender it to Him. That's why His peace can flow in. That's why His peace can guard your entire being, heart, mind, and your entire spirit. Parang hindi kita maabot, Lord. But actually, that's so not true. I'm sure a lot of you know this. Right? The God is around us, above us, in front of us, behind us, within us. Good evening and welcome everyone to another episode of Better Together. It's another Tuesday night, 8 o'clock in the 8:06 p.m. actually here in the Philippines. I don't know what time it is in your part of the world, and I'd like to welcome everybody to another episode of Better Together. This is our third episode in our series called Mind Matters for the month of October. And I'm so excited tonight for our topic because we also have a very special guest. So tonight's discussion is about mindfulness, and our guest speaker, whom I will introduce later on, will speak more about what mindfulness is, what it is not, how we can practice it, how it applies in our day to day life. So, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Coach Reza Custodio Soriano. I am a servant at the Feast at Home Bay Area District. I am also a professional women's life coach and a creatrix transformologist, the only one here in the Philippines so far. And I help women leaders and women professionals overcome, recurring patterns or recurring blocks that get in the way of life, that from feeling stuck or having repeated patterns of fear, of anger, of guilt, whatever those emotional blocks might be. If you have already tried so many approaches, you have already tried so many ways to overcome these blocks, but you still find yourselves facing them, maybe it's time that you talk to me. Okay. So, in case you are curious to reach out to me, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Send me a private message. You can also watch videos that are available on my Facebook page, Fempower with Coach Reza. I do weekly Facebook lives as well over there every Wednesday night and Wednesday afternoon ngayon, 5:30 ng hapon. I do lives where we talk about the typical blocks that women encounter and all the other challenges that are particular to women. Pero ngayon, Tuesday po, ang service ko po dito sa Better Together, I am with Coach JC Libiran, who is our builder for Better Together. And we talk about different topics that pertain to individuals, to people who are in marriages or with family, or even couples who are preparing to get married, no? Or those who are in a relationship. We also have a lot of single people joining us as well. So thank you very much. In case you're watching us for the first time, please let us know in the comments by typing, "Hi, I'm a first timer from," and let us know which part of the Philippines or which part of the world you're watching us live right now. In case hindi po kayo nakaabot sa live tonight and you're watching this on replay, thank you so much also for watching. And we'd also appreciate hearing from you in the comments. So we'd also like to acknowledge all of you who have been watching Better Together every week on week, month on month, and year on year. Remember, we are going on our third year doing this every Tuesday night, and we are so thankful for all the support and the supporters that you continue giving us through the pandemic, even post-pandemic, nandito pa rin kayo. So maraming salamat. Shout out po sa inyo. At sana po magparamdam din kayo sa comments so that we know that you are still here. We'd also love it if you can please tag your friends or share this live stream on your own social page, Instagram or on Facebook, right? Because remember, this month of October is really about mental health, mental wellness. And we know for a fact that more and more people are needing help with regard to caring or improving their mental wellness or their mental state. Okay, so and we believe that tonight's topic is going to be one of the really helpful and powerful ones. Why? Because a lot of things in life starts from awareness and can be initially managed through mindfulness. Okay? So, but I will not preempt our speaker for tonight. I'd like to take this time to greet those who are commenting. Nakikita, kasi binobroadcast po to sa lahat ng pages ng Feast Bay Area district. So that's Feast PICC, AM and PM sessions. We also have Feast Breakthrough, Mall of Asia. We have Ermita and SM Manila. Okay, so madaming pages po yan. We are able to see those who are commenting on StreamYard. Okay, StreamYard, I think this is connected with PICCAM. But if you're watching through other pages, please do comment as well because we also see those comments after the broadcast. So thank you, dear Paul, for being here. Magandang gabi sa'yo. Jewel Peñarubia, good evening din. Christine De La Cruz says, finally made it onto the live session. Praise God. Yes, thank you so much, Christine, for being here as well. And good evening, Belinda Santiago. Yan, keep those comments coming in, especially later on for our guests. If you have any comments, questions, clarifications, or any reactions when it comes to our topic of mindfulness, feel free to ask it in the chat and we will try our very best to address your questions. Okay? Give me a thumbs up. Ay, puro ink. Give me a thumbs up if you are good with that one. Okay, great. Great. Thank you so much. Ziprock George, good evening po. God bless din po sa inyo. Oh, wow. Thank you. And may nagko-comment din via YouTube. I forgot. Yes, we are also live via YouTube. So thank you very much to all our viewers, not just on Facebook, but also on YouTube as well. Maraming salamat po. Okay, so good evening sa inyo. I'd like to take this time also to remind everyone that in case you missed the past 2 episodes that we've had for the month, they are still available on replay. Okay. So all the Better Together videos are still available on replay. Okay. On the Feast PICC AM and PM pages, all the pages of Feast Bay Area. So marami kasi yung napapansin namin, no? The views still keep on going up hours, days, and even weeks after our broadcast. So we really appreciate all the support that you are giving Better Together. Okay? So thank you, Ian Bandala, sa pagtatag ng iyong mga friends. Si Yvonne, si Dabs, si Lot, and okay, I don't know which one here is the name. Pero thank you so much, Ian, for tagging your friends. Sorry, nababother ako that. I'll try to remove this later on. So thank you so much. First time also to join live. Thank you for that one. So without further ado, allow me to introduce our builder for Better Together, our friend all the way from Baguio. Let's welcome Coach JC Libira.
Hello, Better Together family. Coach JC Liberian here, and I'm back here in Baguio City. Dito pa rin sa Mirador Jesuit Villa Retreat House. And coming here, talagang sinalubong ko ang bagyo sa Baguio. Sobrang lakas ng ulan, sobrang lakas ng hangin, and it was even brown out in the area, no? Kung saan bumaba. Huminto yung bus namin. I was already worried because it was still so early bago ko pumunta dito sa pinaka-venue namin, and I needed to stay in a food place, no, where I can just hang out and wait before mag-open yung gates dito. So siguro it was about 3 a.m. in the morning, so sobrang aga talaga. Letting you know that buti na lang, no, there was that food place where I can stay and I can be still. Pero pagdating ng around 5 a.m. ng umaga, I heard yung mga bells. Kasi sa tabi lang pala ng food place is actually the cathedral dito sa Baguio City. And I was drawn to it. Alam kong sobrang lakas ng ulan, sobrang lakas ng hangin. And what I did is I made my way to the cathedral. And that's where I was able to have that peace. I was able to hear mass, celebrate it, and even if I was already sleepy, I was refreshed. And the next thing I know, it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's the time for me to go up here sa Mirador, no, sa venue namin. Open na yung place. I believe, no, the message that I'm sharing here is that sa buhay natin, maraming mga bagyo. maraming malalakas na hangin, maraming malalakas na ulan, and we can be overwhelmed, we can be stressed to the point that we're on the brink of giving up, we're overwhelmed, and uh, what we want to do is we want to hold on and take refuge. When I say that, hold on to the promise that God will never forsake you. Hindi ka nag-iisa. Kasama mo ang Diyos. No? God is with us. And that's why as we enter the Advent season as well, di ba, that's something that we're looking forward. Emmanuel, God is with us. And we take refuge. No? In my case, hindi na ako naglamyerda, naglakad-lakad sa Session Road. What I did is I went to look for refuge. Una sa food place and then eventually doon sa church. So, if you are feeling discouraged right now, you are distressed, no? You are down, and you are in a dark place, take refuge. No? Find the support of your family, of your friends, no? Or maybe in our community, the feast here at Better Together, and that also includes, no, you can ask for help. No? It's a reminder that it's okay not to be okay, but it's also okay to ask for help. And that's why take refuge in the presence of God through prayer and through a loving community that can support you all the way. Hindi mo kakayanin mag-isa, kaya kailangan mo ng kasama. I would always say that if you are a lone ranger, you are in danger. And it's a reminder for us that really life will throw to us the storms, challenges, struggles. But one thing is that we don't have to carry it by ourselves. Know that there are people that are willing to support you, that are willing to journey with you. And count me, no? And Coach Reza as one of those people that are here for you, the whole Better Together family. So maraming salamat for joining us once again in this episode. I'm recording this live because later on I won't be able to catch the live kasi nasa biyahe ako pauwi, no? So still para-paraan, kaya very grateful again for your commitment to get better, and at least you're not by yourself, we are getting better together. Maraming salamat for you being here, to those of you who are joining us live or maybe on team replay, and thank you as well for your support and donations. So I believe the team is flashing on screen or putting it in the comment section on how you can help us. No, it's not just our Better Together online show that is being helped, but also our Mercy Ministry. So maraming salamat sa inyong tulong at suporta, and I pray that you will have inner peace. I pray that amidst life's challenges and storms, that you will hold on to the promise of God, that is He is preparing a greater future, a bright future for you, and that also includes we take refuge in His presence. Sa Diyos lamang mapapanatag ang ating mga buhay. Amen. Maraming salamat. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Once again, this is Coach JC Libiran, and looking forward to hearing from you. You can look for me at Coach JC Libiran. And we're really excited, not just for this series, but ilang tulog na lang. Make sure that you have tickets for the Feast Conference November 18 to 20, and it will be a grand celebration. And if you're blessed by our Better Together online show every Tuesdays, check out the other shows of our Feast Bay area, most especially every Sunday at the Feast. Meron tayong 8:30 a.m. session, ang English session, at meron tayong 1:30 p.m. session. And that's where I serve as well. So looking forward to hearing from you and seeing you there. And tomorrow, Wednesday, you are an early riser, 5 a.m. ng umaga, ang Gabay sa Biblia sa radyo, sa Radio Veritas 846, or just look for it in Coach Jace Libiran Facebook page. Maraming salamat. Team, take it away. Coach Reza, maraming salamat.
Thank you so much, Coach JC. And we are glad that you were able to make it to Baguio safely despite the typhoon that hit the area. I think that was Typhoon Neneng, or the tail end of Typhoon Neneng. So safe travel. Everyone, can you please put in the comments, safe travels, Coach JC, because he's on his way back to Manila. Okay. We just also have an announcement from him. This is an invitation to everyone who's watching right now. Can we show it? It's what time is it? It's time to grow. It's time to heal. It's time to create. It's time to love. It's time to enjoy. It's time to thrive. Join us in this 5-day challenge to prepare us in finishing this year strong to set you up for success and happiness. Save the dates for October 24 to 29. That's happening already next week, okay? As we take back the valley of time, talent, and treasure. So excited to do this with my amazing friends that will add massive value in their lives. So, this is a Facebook Live from 6 to 7 a.m. via the Coach JC Libiran Facebook page. Okay, so in case you haven't been following Coach JC yet, please do so right now. Check out his Facebook page so that you can join the 5-day challenge. Okay, so, and this is open to all the 5-day challenge. So the details are available on Coach JC's page. All right. So if you are excited to join the challenge, please let us know by giving a thumbs up. Okay. Give us a thumbs up to let us know that you want to join next week's challenge. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to take this point to thank all of you who are greeting on the chat, who are commenting, who are, yes, thank you so much to all of you. So now, please allow me to introduce our guest for tonight, okay? This lady has 30 years of corporate leadership development experience as she started her career working for two very large multinational organizations before setting up her own company in 2018. She was born in the Philippines and she has lived and worked in England, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Bahrain, and ran leadership programs worldwide, forging an international career. She founded What's Inside Limited 4 years ago, born out of a desire to help others find their purpose, accomplish it, and be happy. Her work is based on the belief that most of what one needs to succeed is already in them. Recently, Isa has been focused on coaching across diversity, developing programs like WOW or Women of the World, coaching minority executives across sectors in consumer goods, healthcare, education, and mining, to name a few organizations based all over the world. She is an ICF accredited coach at PCC level and a resilient leader consultant. She divides her time between England and Bahrain and is happily married with two adult children. Let's all give a beautiful and warm Better Together greeting to our guest tonight, Coach Isa Buencamino.
Hi, Reza. How are you?
Good, good, Isa. Nice to see you again. And thank you for saying yes to being part of tonight's episode of Better Together.
Well, I was going to say before anything else, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a real privilege to be asked. So, so excited to be here. Thank you.
You're very much welcome. And of course, it's an honor that you accepted our invite, given the time zone difference. For those of you who don't know, Isa is right now in.
Today I'm in Bahrain. So
You're in
5 hours,
Bahrain.
yeah, 5 hours behind you.
Okay, so that's about 3:25, tama ba?
Yeah, tama, tama.
3:25 in the afternoon. So everyone, can you just give a wave to Coach Isa in the chat? Maraming salamat po. So for tonight's episode, Coach Isa will be sharing more about her expertise and knowledge regarding the practice of mindfulness. And eto, Isa, I am also excited to learn from you, to hear from you, because this is something that I was not formally trained in. That's why I'd like to know more from another woman's perspective or another coach's perspective. So would you like to share with us, unang-una, basic question, ano nga ba ang mindfulness?
So I guess because this is your, I think it's your third episode, tama ba, on Mind
Yes.
Matters. Yeah. So your
Yes.
audience siguro very familiar na sila about what mindfulness is. Technically it's really about, getting yourself mindful, being being in the present, being in
Being
the
in the present.
present and being able to respond to stimulus around you in a way na positive, ganyan,
Mm.
purposeful, ganyan.
Mm.
Hindi, I would call, hindi siya emotional vomit, somebody who is not very mindful. I say this a lot in my work, yeah. Na
Ano
pag
yung
hindi ka
emotional
mindful,
vomit? Sige, example ng emotional vomit. Para ma-gets kaagad ng viewers natin,
'di
ano bang
ba,
itsura ng
emotional,
emotional
parang
vomit?
nagsusuka ka ng emotion, hindi na siya 'di ba, 'pag
Yung
hindi ka in control parang lumalabas na lang kahit ano. 'Di ba? That's not very
hmm,
mindful if you're like emotional vomit lumalabas na lang. So, mindfulness would be somebody who talagang ano siya, in control, aware of what's happening around them, talagang present, ganyan. In fact,
yeah,
one of my favorite
uh-huh,
descriptions for me, a result of being mindful is
mm.
resilience. Yan, a
Oh,
person
resilience,
who
yes.
is mindful, resilient siya. And
Oo,
resilience for me, I think the best quote or description kung what is resilience is in the book Ikigai. It
mm.
describes resilience and basahin ko ha. Sabi niya,
Sure.
so resilience isn't just the ability to persevere. So hindi lang siya necessarily skill or capability. It
Hmm,
is an outlook we can cultivate to stay focused on the
stay focused.
important things in life rather
Hmm,
than what's most urgent, and to keep ourselves from being carried away by
mm.
negative emotions. So ultimately,
Oo
for
nga,
me, ang result of mindfulness is hindi ka naka-carry away with your
hindi ka
negative
nadadala.
emotions. Hindi ka nadadala.
That is beautiful. Alam mo, when you said kanina 'no, unang-una yung emotional vomit,
Mm.
that's a very interesting visualization kasi emotional vomit can be 'yan, if somebody's upset. Typically,
Mm.
nai-imagine ko, tama ba? Emotional vomit
Yeah,
is
yeah,
yung paggalit, kung ano-ano yung words na puwedeng lumabas from an
yeah.
individual's mouth. Or yun na nga, 'pag, natataranta or 'pag masyadong nade-desperate or nalulungkot, puwede ding magkaroon ng emotional vomit niyan, totoo.
Exactly. So
Yes,
when it is your emotion that is leading your choices and your actions, yan is a good sign that you're probably not being very mindful. And it's so
yeah,
important yung mindfulness kasi actually for many things that we do in our lives, it all starts in your head. Apart from the things,
agree.
'di ba? Apart from the things na uh, because of your body, iba pa yon, iba pa yon. Pero most things, it starts with your head. And my favorite quote on this is ano naman, by Marianne Williamson. So
Yamsen, yes.
she's a poet. I don't know you're familiar with her. Ang ganda ng
Yes, she
poems
ran
niya.
for presidency sa US. She
Marianne
did.
Williamson.
Yes,
Talaga?
she did, she
Talaga?
did.
That's
Um,
amazing.
Ano 'to, kasabayan ni Biden. She actually tried running for presidency because so many people were pushing her. She's a very close friend kasi ng mentor ko. So, I was following her for a bit, but, this woman is amazing.
She is.
What's her most
Okay, the
famous
one, well, madami,
poem?
pero the one
Oo.
that probably yung most famous poem niya is probably, the one that talks about, our greatest fear. Is not
Yes.
that one, right?
That it's
But
not that way we're inadequate.
yes, that one.
Yun.
Oh, beautiful.
Mm.
Kailangan i-post natin 'yan sa viewers niyo.
Oo.
The one that, the quote though that she has about mindfulness, it says, Nothing binds you except your thoughts. Nothing limits you except your fears, and nothing
Hmm.
controls you except your beliefs. So everything really starts in your head. Now, if you believe this, na all it begins with what's in your head, then can you imagine kung negative siya or vomit nga siya, it's controlling the way you see life, the way you respond to life. And so the practices of mindfulness is so important. And in leadership development, so as
Mm-mm.
you introduced me, diba, I'm a resilient leader consultant. So we do a
Yes.
lot of our leadership development based on resilience. Kasi talag, la, talagang change is part of life, and leaders particularly, um, they lead us through change, and resilience is really important uh, to have if you're going to be leading other people through change, diba? So we
Mm-mm.
do a lot of work on resilient leadership, and we say ito din again a measure of whether somebody is mindful.
Mm-mm.
Ito siya, 4 areas. So kung mindful ka, saka resilient ka, ito yung mga positive results in your leadership. First, you will have clarity of direction. Talagang klaro
Clarity,
yung
clarity. Yeah.
vision mo. May vision ka, 'di ba?
Okay.
Saka you're able to stay the course. Pag mindful ka at resilient ka, kahit anong
Mm.
mangyari around you, if you're very mindful and resilient, kaya mong magstay the course dun sa yung direksyon mo or vision na you set for yourself. And whatever that is.
Regardless
Whether,
of the bagyo, like
yeah,
Coach JC's
regardless of the
bagyo. Oo.
diba, if you want to be the best mom you can possibly be, 'di ba?
Mm.
Clear that is your vision for yourself and what you want to be. So kahit ano pang mangyari sa tabi mo, kaya mong
Kahit ano pang comment ng
mm,
in-laws o ng
yeah,
mga titas around you, 'di ba?
kaya mo if you're resilient and you're very mindful. So that's
Agree.
clarity of, your purpose, your direction. The other is, pag resilient ka, saka mindful ka, mataas yung levels of awareness mo. Yung
Mm.
mame-maintain mo yung well-being mo, saka yung relationship mo sa ibang tao, always mataas siya. Kasi mindful ka, napapansin mo 'pag may malungkot, napapansin mo 'pag may masakit yung katawan mo, lahat. So yung awareness mo sa sarili mo, sa ibang tao, sa nangyayari sa paligid mo, siyempre tataas siya 'pag very mindful ka saka resilient ka. So another
Mm.
good reason, 'di ba, para maging resilient and mindful.
Uh, Coach Isa, if I may clarify lang before you move to the third point, no? How different is mindfulness from, kasi 'di ba there is the high level of awareness. You're
Hmm,
aware of, what's happening sa surroundings mo. You're aware kung paano yung galaw ng mga tao around you. You're aware kung ano ba talaga yung sinasabi ng katawan mo sa'yo, kung nagkakasakit or magkakasakit na. How can you distinguish mindfulness from being praning or being aware of everything from a fearful or hyper aware, yung parang bawat kibot na lang meron kang pinapansin. There are some people who are like that, yung every little thing pinupuna or
mm,
every
mm.
little thing na lang ini-interpret. Like for example, I have had clients who may nararamdaman sa katawan, they're aware sa tiyan, sa likod, sa batok, sa ulo. They're aware of it, but to the point na they have to Google everything. Or minsan, naku, may sakit na ata o may cancer na ata ako. Or yung they would interpret it naman. You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. No, I
That
do
they're
what you mean.
so
I know what you mean.
aware, but they they interpret it negatively. So
Yeah.
where do you strike
So
the balance?
yeah. So, awareness different from mindfulness. Kasi
Mm-mm.
mindfulness, I suppose you will gauge my mindfulness through the response of the person. So let's talk about fear.
Okay.
Technically, mindfulness is technically what it is being present at this moment.
Kasi
Being mindful
nandito
of how
ka.
nandito ka.
Oo,
Yes.
oo.
To be paranoid, you're thinking ahead. You are making
Mm.
assumptions and thinking about things. I'm so happy you mentioned this fear and paranoia because I think we talked about this in our last
Yes,
conversation.
we did.
Yeah, so in one of the courses that I run, I talk about fear a lot, and I mention that in the Bible, in fact, in the Old Testament,
Mm,
in Hebrew, they talk about two types of fears:
mm-mm,
the fear of the imagined and the fear of um, what's bigger than you. So the fear of the imagined is called pahad, and then the
mm-mm.
fear of what's bigger than you, it's called yira. So dalawang klaseng fear. Yung fear
Pahad
of the
and Ira.
yira, yan.
Ira. Okay.
So there's nothing wrong with being fearful. Of course, everyone is fearful, 'di ba? May kinakatakutan tayo. Pero that's normal. But it's good for you to be able to distinguish yung ibang dalawang klase. So yung pahad, yung tinatawag nilang imagined fear, yun yung mga iniisip mong mangyayari as a result. Uy, may nararamdaman ako dito. Siguro, ganito yan. Naku, kung nangyari ito, magagalit si ganito. Uy, kung nagalit si ganyan, nga. Ang dami ng kwento, di ba? So, parang ang
Mm.
dami mo nang pinapatong dun sa nararamdaman mo lang na yun. So, parang pahad yun, ini-imagine mo na. So, lalo kang naprapraning, lalo kang natatakot kasi nadadagdag, na padagdag yung unang naramdaman mo. 'Di
Yes.
ba?
Yes, nagpapatong-patong and it snowballs, 'di
Yeah.
ba? It
So it
snowballs.
hindi na siya mindfulness kasi lumalampas ka na dun sa very, very present. It is what it is, where you are. Uy, masakit. Masakit. I-rub ko siya and tapos na yun. Yun na yun, 'di ba? Wala siyang ano. So,
Wala ng storya pang
wala
ginagawa
ngang
in the
storya.
mind,
Yeah.
yun.
So, in fairness, meron din namang storya na, praktikal, 'di ba? Kung talagang recurring pain, magpakita ka sa doktor, hintayin mo yung advice ng doktor bago ka
Yeah.
mag-panic, 'di ba? You're like really at the moment, in the
Yes.
moment,
In
in the
the
moment.
moment.
No
Yeah.
emotional vomits, nothing like that. You're being mindful. And before we skip this topic, yung yira, sabihan
Ira.
ko lang, yun yung fear na nararamdaman mo when you're stepping into a space bigger than yourself. It's the same fear that they associate with being in the presence of God. Yung
Hmm.
big, big, yung ganong klaseng fear, ini-embrace yun. Yung tipong you're just about to do something na you've never done before, but it will um, add to your growth as a person. Yira yun. Go
Mm.
yun 'pag fear na gano'n, yung mga gano'ng klaseng fear na hindi ka nag-i-imagine, na ini-enjoy mo lang yung current takot ng something that you're about to do to really better yourself, 'yan. Okey yung fear na yun, yira, tawag nila dun.
Yeah. It sounds Ira actually sounds like it's a positive form of anxiety. Remember, because there are like five different kinds of
Mm,
anxiety. And one of them is the good kind, which is you're anticipating something good, or you
hmm,
know something big is about to happen or unfold or develop. And you're actually excited, unsure because you've never experienced it or it's very new to you. That also sounds
exactly.
like Ira. Ang
So
ganda.
good siya, 'di ba?
Oo.
Tsaka also, let's talk about love, or you're looking for your future mate, right? Ito ang difference ng
Mm-mm.
pahad sa kayira. Yung pahad, you're about to ask a girl out on a date, pero hindi mo magawa kasi, ay naku, baka i-turn down niya ako or baka ganito mangyari, wag na lang, ganyan, ganyan. And you're letting the fear of pahad and imagine, ano, get the better of you. Of course, you'd never know
Mm.
the result, it could be good or bad, pero, you know, let go. Ang fear of Ira, yung moment na you're just about to ask her and you're so excited. Yung takot ka pero you're about to step into something that could be a yes, right? It could be a yes. What if it's a
Yes.
yes? Yan.
Yes. A
Good yan.
huge yes. Yeah. Uy, ang ganda niyan, Isa. Gusto ko yung ganyang example. What would be other pahad and ira examples for a parent or for parents
Hmm.
kaya? Anong mga
Fairness, I
typical?
suppose yung kunyari, choice of kung university kung saan mag-aaral or
Hmm,
siguro yung may anak ka na na gusto mo mag-aral siya ng gusto mong maging doktor, gusto niyang maging performing arts,
ayaw niya mag-science,
ayaw
oo.
niyang mag-science or ayaw niyang mag-college, gusto niyang to something
Maging
music,
gamer. Oo.
'di ba?
Oo.
Siyempre if you fear of pahad, lahat na
Oo.
i-imagine mo, "Ay
Oo.
naku, kung kinuha niya 'to siguro ganito, ganyan mangyayari, hindi siya ganito, ganyan, ganyan."
Kung anong
'Di ba?
sasabihin nila 'pag
Yeah,
ganyan ang ginawa
ganito,
nila.
ganyan, ganyan.
Oo.
Pero kung yun ang pinapairal mo na anxiety and fear. Pero if you stay in the present and if you don't think about any of those things, about what people will say, what might happen, whatever, and you stay in the
Yeah.
present in facing your child who's telling you, "Mom, I want to be the best dancer in the world," and you're not
Hmm.
letting yourself think about the pahad fears and staying in the moment of the mindfulness
Yeah.
moment when your daughter or son is telling you about their dreams and aspirations, then you
Oo.
would respond in the way that is addressing the dream, 'di ba? Like, "Oh my God, anak, talaga? That's
Eh,
amazing that you feel that way," ganyan, whatever. If you are
oo.
staying in the moment of mindfulness, listening to what's happening between you and not getting
Oo.
worried about pahad,
Oo.
that's mindfulness.
That's so beautiful, so especially for the parents out there who are listening to Isa tonight. In what ways can you relate? When it
Mm.
comes to dealing with your children, when it comes to dealing with your partner, with your spouse, or even with your own parents, please do let us know in the comments. Diba kung nakaka-relate kayo or kayo yung nasa kabilang side? Maybe back when you were younger, you were expressing yourself at may nasabi yung parents sa inyo either to encourage or to discourage you. Please let us know. Share your story or your reflections as well. Ang ganda lang, Isa, kasi it's also a timely reminder. What I'm picking up from what you're sharing is that let's not pass on our fears to our children. The way we look at life is from the limitations of what we had growing up.
Mm.
But the generation today, their world is so different from the generation of, for example, the Gen Zs today and the even younger. They have so many opportunities to build their wealth, to share their creativity, share their talent versus the boomers or the Gen Xers. Magkaiba eh. Wala naman social media nung araw. 'Di ba? Wala naman
So
YouTube nung
different.
araw.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, sige. Yes, you're about to say
So
something.
different. No, this is why if we go back to the start of our conversation, we talked about emotional vomit. Kasi di
Yeah.
ba, there's so much material on mindfulness and you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to know
Mm.
about pahad, right, and all that. I think na the best measure on whether you are being mindful is yung emotional vomit. Kung talagang can you respond in a way that's loving and open and honest na walang imagine, walang galit, walang all of that. Talagang na-achieve mo na yung Yoda-like mindfulness.
Zen-like moment.
Zen. Yes.
Yung sinasabi ng iba, kalma besh,
Yeah,
kalmang-kalma
kalma
besh. Okay, so thanks for that one. Ladies and gentlemen, no, if you have any questions or clarifications for Coach Isa, please do let us know in the comments, and she will try to address them as best as she can with time permitting. So, okay, what are the benefits for a person, a mother, a father, a single person? What are the benefits of practicing or being mindful? Ano yung nage-gain niya, ano yung naiiwasan niya?
Well, so much, right? So, first
Hmm,
of all, syempre relationships, more positive relationships with people. So, growth relationship. So, we were
growth
talking
in
kanina nga,
relationships, yeah.
'di ba? Lalo
Yeah.
na itong may nagsabi si Christine, projecting parental past experience, anxieties. If you are mindful and you're able to manage your resilience and all of that, your relationships tend to be a lot better. It's, based on growth, based on love,
Hmm.
all the positive. the positive emotions that you can share with
Mm.
another human being if you're mindful. You can stay there.
Mm.
In
Mm.
leadership speak, we call it your leadership presence. Somebody who's mindful and somebody who's resilient, their leadership presence is typically very positive. So, for
Mm.
example, kung leader ka or parent ka or um, lahat tayo meron tayong signature leadership presence. Have you ever heard of that? Para kang perfume. Meron kang signature presence ka. Na
Yes.
pagpasok mo ng kwarto, yung naamoy nila, "Andiyan na si Reza.
Ah,
Hmm, very positive. She smells fruity,"
yun
and
yung yes. Ang ganda ng analogy ng parang pabango.
para kang
Oo.
pabango.
Oo,
'Di ba
oo.
lahat ng tao
Yeah.
meron. Pero kung hindi ka mindful saka hindi ka resilient, yung amoy mo hindi siya 'pag nandiyan ka
Oo,
na, "Ay naku, yan na si Reza."
nagfi-freeze. Oo, ayan
Oo,
na or yung parang, oh, patay nandito
nandiyan
na
na si
si
nandito
ayan.
na si ganyan.
Oo,
So, if somebody
quiet lang.
quiet lang.
Yung gano'n.
Nandiyan na si
Oo,
mommy, naku,
oo,
ay hindi ko na sasabihin talaga yung gusto ko sabihin. 'Di
oo.
ba? Kung meron kang signature set, yung bang gusto mo, yung signature set na 'pag dumating ka lahat ng tao ayaw na magsalita or magtatago na, alis na, whatever.
That's very
Somebody
interesting sa work, like may mga tao na pagpasok, "Uy, you're here! Uy, ganyan.
yeah.
Uy, good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir," or whatever. Merong iba pagpasok sa room biglang everyone pretend to look busy. 'Di ba? O biglang nasa laptop na or biglang yung chatter in the room biglang mawawala.
Or kahit in sport, 'di ba may mga tao
Hmm.
na pagdating nila, "Naku, mananalo na tayo, nandito na si Michael Jordan,"
Oo,
whatever, 'di ba?
oo, oo,
Yun yung presence nila, winner, ganyan.
oo.
Ta's may mga tao darating sila, present sila, calm, "Oh, nandiyan na si Coach Reza. Ano na
Hmm,
kami, magka-calm down na kami, she's here, sorted na 'yan." Whatever. Everyone
oo.
has a signature presence and somebody who's very mindful, and cognizant of themselves, aware of themselves and others, their relationship, they're a bit more in control of their presence and how they show up for people, how they are. So the relationships are normally positive. When they are in the room, they lift everyone's game, they lift people's
Hmm,
spirits. Positive yung contribution nila sa kwarto, 'di ba?
mhm.
Or kahit na masungit ka, kahit na si Simon Cowell, 'di ba, he is known to be
Yeah,
nakakatakot.
but people love him.
People love him because he's
Yeah,
authentic and he steps in the room, standards come up, 'di
yeah,
ba, they go up,
excellence, Siya si
'di ba?
excellence talaga,
Yun ang
oo.
leadership presence niya, signature set niya, standards go up, respect, 'di ba? So benefits would be better relationships. And then I think, you guys have covered it before, siyempre self-awareness of yung nangyayari sa sarili mo, health,
Mm,
it's not just about your relationship with other people, but it's also about yourself and how you feel, your mental well-being, your overall health. So somebody who's mindful. And then on top of that, ano din, it's just the choices that you make in your life. Somebody who is very
mm, mm.
mindful, the decisions that they make tend to be quite resilient, clear yung I was saying earlier about
May
clear yung
klaro,
may
yeah.
clarity, saka they can stay the path. So people who are mindful and are resilient can stay the path kasi kahit anong pang mangyari, focused, 'di ba?
Mm.
Tapos desisyon, 'pag nagdedesisyon sila may may direksyon, ganyan.
So isa pa gano'n, is it possible that a person who because, there are different personality types, personality profiles. Is it possible na meron din yung taong pabago-bagong isip or pabago-bago ang direksyon? May nakitang bago na inspire siya, "Uy, what if gawin natin 'to?" Or, "Ay, pero parang after a few days, uy, parang mas maganda 'to." So, magbabago yung direksyon, magbabago yung input. Is that person being mindful or is that person being very flexible? what do you call
Yeah, that's
that?
a really interesting. That's really interesting, right? So
Oo.
earlier I said na, for many things, it's all in our head. But then caveat, then your body comes into play. And I wanna touch on this chemicals in your body that um impact your behavior. So let's say if you're somebody, for example, with a learning disability, if you have this ADHD or autism, right?
Okay.
So you would argue that logical argue mindfulness might not necessarily be the same for them because theirs is not just the direction of where your head is at. There are chemical stuff happening in their body that
Mm.
sometimes cannot be controlled by just cognitive ability, di ba? Or your focus. So I would layer that into the complexity of things. So tulad nung example, I am pretty sure, unfortunately, when I was growing up, wala pang mga doktor nun na meron na pero hindi pa siya 50 na kasi ako. So, not telling my age na nung bata ako, wala pang mga
Oo.
ADHD diagnosis,
Hindi pa uso 'yan
dyslexia,
ng
wala pa,
80s,
hindi pa
wala
uso
pa.
natin, wala pa, 'di ba?
Oo, wala pa
Pero
nun.
I really think I do have ADHD. So, gets ko
Okay.
actually yung papasok, bibili ng battery, lumabas, bumili ng sapatos. Oh my gano'n-gano'n ako. That is me.
Hindi ba lahat ng babae gano'n?
Hindi hindi yata hindi yata. Ikaw lang
Yung
yata ata
I'm
yun.
just here to buy, for example, a bottle of wine. Paglabas isang grocery cart na ang laman.
So, lahat ng babae borderline. So so anyway, I want to talk about the chemicals in your body. So I just want to caveat that, right? So most
Okay.
things, in your mind that you can focus your mind and be mindful. Pero pag may chemicals na sa body mo na hindi mo makokontrol yun eh. Actually, body over mind, mind over body. Yun na, you just also really need to be mindful of that. So, for example, so I think I've always thought I have dyslexia and
Okay.
a form of ADHD. I recognize it now as an adult looking back. No? So
Hmm.
strategies to I would always be so beat up myself for not being so focused sometimes because
Hmm.
I should have paid attention more whatever. Pero sa totoo lang, now that I recognize na maybe there are chemical things happening in my body, I shouldn't be too hard on myself when I am not exhibiting the perfect version of what mindfulness is. And
Oo
actually
naman.
maybe
Yeah.
mindfulness is about that manifestation of self-love for yourself that sometimes things just happen. And ganun ka, 'di ba? There's other stuff happening within you, 'di ba? So
That's
that's what
true.
I think.
Well, if I may also know, this is a bit off topic, but it's still related to what you mentioned. I think that also is yung difference between men and women. Men are
Mm.
naturally more focused and one tracked. Women more are able to multitask, focus on different things at the same time. So, I mean, for the women listening, no, kung nakaka-relate kayo, mag-heart nga kayo. Mag-heart kayo sa comments kung nakaka-relate kayo dun sa shinare ni Isa. Na, pwedeng, kasi di ba minsan din, ang joke, ang babae talaga pabago-bago parating isip. Ito yung napag-usapan namin, mamaya iba. Ito yung sinabi niyang restaurant na gusto niya, mamaya paglabas namin, nasa iba na yung pinili niya. I mean, women are also like that. We ebb and we flow. So, sabi nga, tama yung sinabi ni Isa, we have to be like really more loving and understanding and accepting and embracing ourselves because we are
I
not
think I
perfect.
think yeah, exactly. And I think there is a DNA thing with women. I mean, of course, we're generalizing. Some men can be like women and
Yes.
women can be like men.
Yes.
Of course,
Yes.
that's true. Pero what was I going to say? Being mindful, if you know this as a woman, na you have a tendency to do that. Mindfulness begins with awareness. Na yes,
Yes.
you do tend to do that, and
Yes.
if this is the choice point. It's when it leads you or you lead it. You see what I
Mm.
mean? So parang, do you get what I mean, Risa, na parang
When yeah, okay. When it
nangy
leads you or you lead it. Either magpadala ka or ikaw yung nagdadala.
yeah, perfect. That's what yes. And
Tinagalog ko lang siya.
pero mas maganda
Oo.
sa Tagalog. Pero
Oo
alam mo
'no?
yung
Oo.
ang dami-dami-daming magpapadala ka or, control mo lahat ng input at idala mo. So, yun din, that's a challenge to us women that we probably need to get better at that.
So if I may add dun sa ang ganda ng point na ni-raise mo, Coach Isa, 'no? That's why it helps for a lot of people as part of a mindfulness exercise. So, we'll talk about tips and techniques na after this, no, Coach Isa, is journaling. This is
Hmm,
also what I encourage most of my clients to practice because really, when there's so many things that are happening in your life, you're chasing after deadlines, looking after the home, or you're juggling between the home and the house, etc., etc. Really, the world can be so magulo or nanggugulo. So when we journal and take time to pause and write things down, I like the analogy of it's like the pensieve in Harry Potter when Dumbledore would, grab his wand and do like this to his head, and the thoughts would just flow and go to the water thing, the pensieve. Same thing for journaling. To get the chaos and the jumbled thoughts to quiet down and start expressing itself, write it down. When it's on paper, biglang, oo nga 'no, mas makikita mo because it's already in front of you. Or mas klaro siya because it's already written out and extracted from your head down onto the paper. So, ikaw, Coach Isa, what would be some tips and techniques that you can recommend to our viewers, our listeners, when it comes to how to practice mindfulness?
mindfulness. Okay, for this, I reference one of the a book called Playing Big si Tara Moore. She talks about three different buckets of technique that you can use to practice mindfulness. So there's three
Mm.
buckets now. So
I
yung
hope
unang
nagno-notes,
bucket,
mga tao, please take down notes. Okay, go, Isa.
okay, so yung tatlong bucket yan, yung heart bucket, so yun yung
Mm.
mga tools that you can use your emotion to control your mindfulness. Then there's the somatic bucket, yun yung mga physical things that you can do. And then
Mm.
finally, yung cognitive bucket, so the things that you can do with your mind to calm you down. So, for example, yung yung binigay mo example na journaling, that's a very cognitive technique to to get yourself to the present. You know, you're writing things down, you're thinking things through, 'di ba? Pero
Mm.
bawat tao usually meron silang go-to na pinaka-favorite nila to calm them down, to really get them really mindful. And in fact, for everyone listening today, I want you to remember yung last time na nagpapanik ka or nag-anxiety attack ka, ano yung ginawa mo na tumulong sa'yo? Yung first thing that you did, that the first step towards really getting yourself mindful and centered, ano yung ginawa mo? So, kunyari ako, ang favorite ko, ito namana ko na sa mga English 'to, yung mga Brits, mahilig silang
Okay.
uminom ng tsaa, 'di ba? Mahilig
Mm.
silang uminom ng
Like
tsaa.
they like to have a cup of tea.
Cup of tea,
Yeah.
may milk ang tea nila, cup of tea
Yes.
with a scone.
With a
So
scone.
nung napansin ko 'pag talagang ano na, iinom na ako ng cup of tea kapag ninenervyos na ako or may nangyayari ng emotional vomit, tapos nagka-calm down na ako. So yun,
Mm.
yung pag-inom ng tubig saka cup of tea, somatic yun kasi umiinom ka, katawan mo.
Mm.
So kung
Okay.
somatic ka, ibig sabihin, most of the things within the somatic bucket will probably work for you. So these are things like exercise, walking walking the dog, ganyan. Um,
Mm.
all your senses, your sight, your hearing, your taste, kumain, nako, somatic yan. Kung ang first thing that you do is to grab a piece of chocolate,
Naku, stress eating 'yan.
siya, natural ano mo na siguro physical yung go-to tools mo para for mindfulness. So, kunyari mahilig ka kumain at ayaw mo ng kumain, probably a hot bath will also
Hot
calm you
bath, a hot
down.
shower, yeah.
Drinking a cup of coffee or coffee pala, that's caffeine, but calming tea.
Yes.
I
Ginger
started
tea.
there you go. Ako
Mm,
walking the
mm,
dog, yan
mm.
na. So these are all very physical things that you can do to really
Praying. Come up.
praying.
Praying.
That's an emotional bucket na yan. Iba
Ah,
na.
so sa
Ito
heart na
physical to.
yan.
Heart
Okay.
yan.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, praying is a heart tool. Invoking the feeling of love through prayer, that is an emotional tool. So
Okay.
pagdasal comes in there. There are other techniques in the emotional bucket. So one is
Mm,
praying, um, people who meditate, invoking feelings yun eh. Meron
mm.
yung iba na magaling ang tawag nila emotion swapping na 'pag nagagalit ka na, somebody who can actually the better example yung mga Pilipino. Tayong mga Pilipino 'pag minsan 'di ba mahilig tayong mag-joke 'pag ang sama-sama na,
Mag-joke. Yes,
'di
to
ba?
break the tension or break the ice or shift. Yeah, to shift.
You invoke happiness or some sort of laughter to shift you out of the negative state.
Yeah.
That
Break
would be
state yan sa NLP. Oo, break
So
state
another
siya.
example, lahat yan emotional. And then nga,
Mm,
then yung cognitive tools, ito nga, yung journaling, pagsulat,
mm.
um, so anything that you use your brain with to think things through.
Reading is also a cognitive tool, right?
Yes. Powerful beliefs, yung mga things that you say to yourself, very cognitive,
Affirm
like
affirmations.
affirmations, those
Yes.
are cognitive tools. So yun. So tatlong different kinds. Tas everyone, meron tayong preferred one. Kasi like 'di
Mhm.
ba may mga tao they don't want to journal, hindi nila talaga kaya.
May
Maybe.
kliyente akong ganyan nung umpisa, pero after na-experience niya yung power parang, ang galing-galing pala ng journaling after resisting it.
So, pero ako ang point ko, meron kang natural. Ano ka ba, body,
Yes.
utak or puso? Find that.
Ah,
O start with that, galingan mo,
ah.
expand your repertoire. 'Pag magaling ka na
Hmm.
do'n, then try other things.
Try other things, yeah.
Kung puso ang puso ka, so you pray, maybe exercise or maybe journal. Or if you're
Hmm,
the journaling type more, so
hmm.
you play around with the different tools and techniques.
I
Pero
love that.
3 buckets, yeah.
Yeah, I love the 3 buckets. Si Christine, well, si JC Rojo tsaka si Christine de la Cruz 'no, they were talking about breathing naman. So Christine
Hmm,
says, "Being aware of my breathing helps in taming my nervous system din po, lalo when in so much stress mentally and physically." Totoo 'yan, physiology shift because of the change in breathing, from
so
shallow breathing to deep breathing.
so somatic 'yan, Christine. So if breathing works for you, probably the other somatic tools work for you. The other thing, listening to music,
Yeah,
like
agree.
Mozart, ako Mozart,
Oh,
'yan.
wow,
Cup of
classical.
cup of tea, ganyan. Will work
Oo.
for you if breathing works for you.
Very good. So, yeah, and for some people, I know they like listening to worship songs, just the lyrics of the worship songs help them kasi meron siyang si Jilly says watching faith movies. Why ang
There you
ganda
go.
watching faith movies. So beautiful. So again, no, BTS daw sabi ni
BTS,
Chia. Well,
yes.
yes, the
What
messages
works
of
for
their
you?
songs. Exactly.
So
Ang ganda nitong buckets, no? So listeners, audience, ladies and gentlemen, share nyo naman sa comments kung ano yung na-try nyo and it works for you. Tapos identify nyo
'yan,
siya based on what Isa said. Ano ba yan? Heart bucket ba yan?
somatic.
Cognitive or brain? Or is it somatic/body? Okay? So heart, emotions, cognitive, brain, somatic, or body. Share nyo kung ano yung best practice nyo. Tapos identify nyo kung anong bucket.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anything else? Any other tips or techniques that you want to share about mindfulness? Kasi sometimes challenging ang mindfulness sa mga tao, 'di ba? Nagiging challenging. Why do you think mindfulness can be a challenging thing to practice on a regular basis if we are not mindful? Mindfulness can be a challenge if we are not mindful. Sige.
Right. I think the first thing to say is mindfulness takes time and space.
Time and space.
Yeah. So, like anything worth doing, 'di ba? It takes time and space. So, kung wala
Mm,
kang oras, saka, you don't value it as much, simula pa lang talo na. So, probably that's
agree.
probably the first thing to say.
And that's huge, ah. What you
Mm,
just said is huge. I noticed this one also in some of my clients, Isa,
mm.
when when they really put their heart and commitment into wanting transformation and wanting change, they make it happen. Versus those who are half-hearted, subukan lang, or yung they don't have skin in the game,
Yeah.
ang bilis nilang mag-entertain or gumawa ng excuses that get in the way of progress, that get in the way of growth. They can fall back in their comfort zone, which no longer serves them. So ano, kaya to give time and space for yourself.
I
Ayan,
love I
oo.
love what you said there. In fact, probably it goes ahead bago time and space. Kasi you have to value it muna, 'di ba? You really have to
Yes.
skin in the game. You like really have to put some worth, associate a level of worth on it, 'di ba? And then if it's something that you associate with worth, then you will give it time and space.
Agree, agree. It's also parang first things first. Gaanong kaimportante or ganong kahalaga ba para sa'yo para magkaroon ng pagbabago sa buhay mo? Right?
Mm,
If
mm,
you're complaining about the chaos in your life, or
yeah.
if you're already at your wits end, kumbaga yung punong-puno ka na, sabi nga ni Isa, you can control it, you can do something about it. So decide. 'Di ba?
Mm, mm.
Decide that you want to do something and stick to it, and choose what is best for you, and don't make the excuses get in the way of that transformation. Okay, so last question siguro, is mindfulness effective for every kind of person?
Yeah, I guess maybe connected to what I said earlier about you
Mm,
being mindful of the chemicals in your body that also have an impact on the way you see things, the way you think, right? Because
mm.
mindfulness is actually a very a cognitive practice.
Practice,
So,
yes.
'di ba? It's very much led with your mind. So, yun lang ang caveat ko, is just to remember that sometimes we are not in control of everything. Our mind is not able to control everything. It sometimes our mind deceive us. So just be really cognizant of that. And that there's stuff happening in the rest of your body that might have an impact on your cognitive ability that you have no control over. So yes, maybe if there are times when you don't feel like you can practice mindfulness, and just be easy on yourself. Sometimes
Mm.
it won't work.
Sometimes it won't work, or sometimes yung kumbaga sa roller coaster. There will be times when yes, you're able to practice it a lot regularly, but there will be times na parang bakit parang akala ko mindful na ako, bakit pumalya? Or bakit
Yeah,
nagka-emotional vomit na naman ako, or bakit, sobrang pumutok ang
Lahat, 'di ba?
bulkan, 'di ba?
Actually nga, even outside of, identified learning disabilities, even kung may sakit ka, yun na lang, eh, kung may sakit ka, if you are unwell, I tell you, no matter how much will to be mindfulness, 'pag masakit ang katawan mo and everything else going around your body outside of your brain, it's not gonna be easy to be mindful. If
Ay,
you're
oo.
unwell, at saka if you're drugged, like if you're sick and you're being pumped of may medicine ka sa katawan mo, you can't, 'di ba? You cannot practice mindful. You have no control over the way that you see things talaga.
Mm.
Yun na lang eh,
Yan,
'di ba?
especially mind or mood altering substances, 'di ba?
Exactly. So when
Mm.
that happens, so sometimes yung mind altering substance that you choose to put in your own body, that's a different story. But for some people na talagang it's not their choice, they're unwell, um, they're either unwell or I call it the best term I can describe is chemical stuff happening elsewhere in your body that just prevents you from being cognitive and mindful.
Yes. Kaya sinasabi nga na we really need I will say this, we really need to be mindful of what we feed our bodies.
Mm,
And also what we feed our minds. Kasi
mm.
sometimes what we feed our minds affect what we feed our bodies. 'Di ba? Yung parang, "Ay, ang sama-sama talaga ng araw ko, chips, chips, chips." Or 'di ba yung parang, "Ay, ang dami-dami kong deadlines, coffee, coffee, coffee." Even those things require mindfulness. Christine says, the challenge for me, I'm not sure if this is a question or a statement. And I guess since this is the only one we have, we don't have any other questions coming. Challenge for me is not having a personal space, solitude, which then
Yeah,
affects my mind space to just be in
yeah,
silence. Often leads to being drained and even poor tempered or
yeah,
emotional vomit. Would you like to
yeah.
comment about this?
Yeah. Christine, thanks for pointing that out. That was the other thing that I was going to say. I forgot. Yeah, your environment, which sometimes you have no control over, 'di ba?
Mm,
So, in sa Zoom na lang, during COVID, 'di ba? May mga hirap kaya makahanap ng kwarto na walang ibang tao. It would be like the
it's
perfect metaphor for trying to be mindful, right? Na may dumadaan sa likod mo na hindi mo makontrol. It's out of your
oo,
control.
oo.
Ang hirap maging mindful sa Metro Manila, ha, sa totoo lang. I've
Yung mga
been
nakaka-relate diyan, mag-thumbs up naman kayo.
ang swerte mo kung nakatira ka sa Siargao, ha, at nag,
By the beach, right?
oo.
Oo. Or sa province, ang daming nagre-retreat sa province talaga and setting up shop or setting up their homes na in the provinces kasi getting away
Hirap.
talaga from the madness of the city, right?
So, no,
So,
absolutely, environment. Do you know, I never realized it the first time it occurred to me how stressful Metro Manila environment is when I brought a friend with me from England. So she vacationed with me to in the Philippines, and she wanted to go outside of Metro. Ayaw niya sa Metro Manila. So talagang ano daw, it's so
it's
congested,
cramped. Yeah, it's
pollution.
congested. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Christine, for raising that. Absolutely. That would be another
Another consideration.
consideration. Yeah.
Kaya ano, siguro for Christine, we don't know where you are based. If you can share with us, you know, this is going to sound funny, but one of the places that we have discovered because of the pandemic, actually, even pala before the pandemic, a good place to retreat if you just need space, magugulat kayo, cementerio.
Mm.
Okay? Because in the cemetery, cementerio, in the cemeteries, obviously, sino bang nakapunta na sa sementeryong maingay parate? Sino ba sa inyo ang nakakaalam ng sementeryo na parating maingay? Wala, di ba? So, there are places or certain cemeteries where you can just go there and just stay or find a bench or sit under a tree. And remember, it's not a ridiculous or scary place. It's a place where people are laid to rest. It's a place actually of rest. So I'm not being morbid about this, but I'm just giving you ideas. Ang American Memorial dito sa BGC, pinupuntahan niya ng mga tao. Yeah, they just go around and sit there. I've seen it. I've experienced it also. Just to sit there because it's so quiet, it's so open.
O ayan na, pag nawawala si Coach Reza, alam niyo na kung saan siya pupunta.
Nasa American Memorial ako. Husband ko madalas din siya pumupunta dun and more people are discovering it kasi ang daming places na pwede ka lang umupo and just be quiet. So it's going to sound funny if you judge it to be funny, but you haven't tried it. Unless you try
Hmm.
it, don't judge it. So yun. Okay.
Ako, Ako, I really believe in the future. Wealth will be determined by space. The space that you own rather than the money that you have. Lalo palaki na ng
Mm,
palaki ang population. Yung
real
space,
estate.
ang labanan ng ng wealth is to have space. Sa Pilipinas talaga, if we're going to fight for human rights, like if you think about the state of some of our kababayan, there's no space. There is
Yes.
no space. So, yeah, the value of space. Naku, yan, Christine, you raised the topic tuloy.
Ako, palalim na palalim yung usapan. So I guess, yeah. So any last words, Coach Isa, that you'd like to share about the practice of mindfulness?
I think the last thing I want to say about the practice of mindfulness is it's so easy sometimes to forgo mindfulness because there's so many things happening in your
Mm,
life that is so seemingly important, whether it's your job. It's life is a race, it's always like a race.
mm,
um I think the best quote for this is just to remember that it's not a life is not a commute. It's a marathon. It's a it's a s- it it's a stroll in the park. It's a longer walk through life na you can enjoy more and really enjoy and yeah, like be able to live your best life if you can value it more. So mindfulness comes when you value the idea of it. It's not enough that you recognize that it's a good idea. Kasi if all it took was a good idea, there would be world peace and no hunger, right? But to really value mindfulness and practice it. So you have to lean into it. You have to really, yeah, lean into it and practice it. So it won't just happen. It it has to be valued, and you
and to
really have
choose
to,
it, no?
yeah, you
Choose
gotta
to
choose
lean
it.
into it.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that one. Ako, if I may add, no? Aside
Mm,
from the point that you raised, Coach Isa, it's also when you lean into it, choose it, talagang being intentional about it.
mm,
No? There's also the practice of being still. In stillness, we can experience mindfulness. Kaya nga, di ba sinasabi, in the silence of our heart, the Lord speaks. In the stillness, in the quietness, like for example, in the case of Christine, kung yung example ko kanina, hindi mo kailangan siguro pumunta sa cemetery para sa tahimik na lugar. Sometimes it can just be the bathroom,
mm,
right? It just can be, mag-lock ka lang muna sa banyo for 15 minutes or sa kwarto for 15 minutes and just practice stillness. The stillness can help you go back again to the present. So we hope that it has been helpful for all of you to what we have discussed tonight, and sino sa inyo excited to start being mindful about mindfulness and to want to start practicing it again, please give us heart in the comment, okay? If you have picked up something new, please give us hearts in the comments as well. So, okay, thank you so much, Isa Buen Camino, for gracing our episode tonight. And thank you so much for the tips. Thank you so much for the insights, reminders on the buckets. I think the buckets are very powerful for me because choose what works for you. If it's cognitive in the mind, if it's in the heart, or if it's in the body, or it can be a combination of two or all three, right? So, thank you so much for that. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, please palakpakan po natin si Coach Isa for being here. Despite the time difference, no, Bahrain and here in the Philippines. Thank you, Isa. And we hope that you can visit us again one of
Oh,
these
yes, please.
one
I
of
will
these
be
months.
more than happy. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you. And thank you to all our viewers with your high level of participation and gratitude. We're seeing in the comments, no, sina Chi, Ian, Christine, Jilly, Belle, Marites. Thank you so much. Si Dear Paul, ayan, marami. JC, Jeremy, maraming salamat, no, Belinda, may si Belinda, missionary kanina, I remembered my daughter whose choice was to be a vet med. But then I said there was no income from it and she obeyed. Now I realize it was a big mistake because there is big business or income in it because people are now fond of pets. Learning talaga. So, maraming salamat sa inyong participation. Maraming salamat sa inyong patience. We will end with the worship song. But before that, just a final announcement, if I may, no, Isa, we'd like to invite everyone to please sign up if you haven't done for Feast Conference. It's happening in exactly a month from now. October 18 ngayon, November 18 to 20 ang Feast Conference. And I will see you, for those of you attending face to face, for my master class, Warrior, Not Worrier, How to Stop Feeling Anxious About Anxiety. Okay. My master class is happening on a Saturday. So I will see you at the SMX Arena. SMX Convention Center. Okay. At the Convention Center. And then we'd also like to invite all of you. Remember that November 1 is also fast approaching. Okay. So we have a ministry called Morning to Morning. This is our very own grief support ministry. If you have experienced, or you or someone you know has experienced the passing of a loved one, especially napalapit itong November 1, no? Ito yung time na kino-commemorate natin yung mga beloved natin sa buhay. Feel free to visit and message us at the Morning to Morning Feast Bay Area Facebook page. Okay, so maraming salamat ulit sa inyong lahat. In behalf of Coach JC Libiran and the rest of the Better Together team, we'd like to thank Coach Isa. And thank you again, everyone. We shall see you next week for our special Zumustahan episode. So, yeah, Zumustahan episode. So
Sounds
please remember,
fun.
everyone, we are always better together. Good
Together.
night. Bye.
sing high.